Hello, this is Catherine Watkin of Selling from the Heart. And this week I'm doing a series of member spotlights with our fabulous Hearties. That's the affectionate name for members of the Business from the Heart membership. Today I'm talking to Kanan, who has been one of our members for 4.5 years at this point. Kanan, would you like to kick us off by introducing yourself and explaining what your business is all about?
Thanks, Catherine. My business is called Aspie Coach, and I'm a holistic therapeutic coach for neurodivergent, gifted, and twice exceptional adults, couples, and families.
Amazing. And when you joined the membership 4.5 years ago, that what you didn't have that specialism, did you? Tell me a bit about where you were at in your business at that point.
So when I joined the membership, I was a trained yoga teacher, and I just completed some general life coaching training. And I'd also been a professional declutterer, so I was trying to put everything together. My son had been diagnosed with autism, and I was like, this is all coming together for a reason. But I was scared to go and put myself out there as an autism coach because I thought I don't know any autistic adults. But I joined the membership to help me in terms of setting up a business, which I felt like, and also just to help get some guidance to figure out what is the business that I'm supposed to be launching here.
Yeah. I remember quite a number of conversations in that first year you were in the membership. You were still being quite generalist in terms of what you were offering. I think deep down you knew, on some level, you knew that this was what you wanted to do, to work with neurodiverse and gifted people. But I think there was, I think sometimes the idea of specializing feels counterintuitive for people. They have a lot of fear around it. And once you broke through that, things just took off for you, didn't they?
So that was all thanks to that hot seat, which I remember clearly, where you kind of challenged me about, just make a decision. Is it going to be tailoring this for Asperger's, or this general kind of? It felt a little bit wishy-washy, but at the time I was like, if I commit to Asperger's coaching, I know no one that does this, so it felt like there was no chance of this working, or even being a service that anyone needed. But now, obviously, I know different.
What were you selling when you first joined the membership?
I was not really selling. I was very scared of offering my service. I was basically giving things away for free, thinking I need to practice, I'm not ready yet. So it was hard to even charge. I was either doing stuff for free or started doing single sessions. I think I started at £25, and then even just trying to go up to £50 felt like such a huge stretch. It kind of blew my mind. It was easier to just give away things for free.
Right. So you were a generalist. You said yourself a bit of a wishy-washy message. Even charging £50 a session felt quite uncomfortable. So the business that you have today, looking through the lens of Kanan 4.5 years ago, must have looked impossible for you.
I just thought, I do not know how am I going to even do this? Is it even possible? I couldn't see it at all.
And tell me where you are today, just to give people that sense of how far it's possible to come in that time.
Yes, the sense that I've broken through so many levels of possibility. When I started, I wanted to just break even and do what I love. But now I'm making enough for a good life for myself and my family. I feel like everything's in flow. I feel like I'm in control and I understand what's going on. It just feels like a dream come true. And it is. It was something that I had on my vision boards year after year. And I'm like, yeah, I can tick that off. It's possible and I've done it.
Would you give an indication of, when you talk about earning enough to support your family, what sort of figures are we talking about? What would you bring in on average? I know with a small business, it's never completely consistent and predictable, but what would be the typical average monthly amount, and what would be the highest amount you've brought in a month?
I'd say the average is about 5,000 a month. and the highest has actually been over 11,000. I don't work full time in my business. I choose to work 4 days a week, and I take a month off in the summer and at Christmas. So it just works.
Yeah. I love you sharing that story because I think there are a lot of other business owners, coaches, therapists, healers, service-based businesses. They're just at the beginning, struggling even to create a package they can sell for even a few £100s. For you to feel uncomfortable with £50 an hour and to have created the business that you have 4 days a week and have done that in, well, we're talking now 4.5 years since you joined my membership, but your business has been at this level of stability for a while now. In what ways can you credit the membership itself with that progress in your business?
I would say that one of the hardest challenges was that first sale of a program, and having the belief and the mindset that that was possible, and understanding why it was so hard. You know, in the membership, what I understood was there's all these different stages, and not to believe what I was being told. Like, if you hack these things, you can have a 6, 7 figure business. That was just crazy. What the membership has given me is that you can do slow, steady progress. You don't have to do it all overnight. There's a clear, concrete way to do this, and you have to build your foundations. You can work your way through with guidance. Just understanding that helped me feel in control, calm, and that it's possible. That's the first thing I got. The other thing that was massive for me was understanding marketing. I did not know what marketing meant, and I'm pretty sure I didn't understand what sales meant either. The membership has given me so much clarity on that, in that marketing is just communicating the message in a way that feels right for me. It doesn't have to be icky or uncomfortable or hard. And the sales, which I did through, you know, your separate program, that was also transformational. I wouldn't have known about that if I wasn't in the membership. The reason why I'm still in the membership is that sometimes life happens, the business gets put to one side because it's not a priority. But I could always come back. I could always see where I was. I could pick up where I left off. And you would always be there as well. If I needed support in person on the calls, I found that you were that steady hand of guidance, words of wisdom, and giving me the belief back.
Yeah. And actually, we had a conversation very recently. It was another hot seat, wasn't it? Because although you can come and talk to me every month on the mentoring calls, you've booked hot seats. We'll do a deep dive into where you're at. You have a new vision for your business and how you want it to be, like the next stage, the next level. We did the hot seat, and you expressed how it just felt impossible to you. I reminded you, when you were charging £50 a session, the business you have today felt impossible. The current vision you have for this next stage is possible. You're going to close the gap in the same way you close the gap to get to where you are right now. The other thing I think I want to just link into what you said as you started answering that other question, which was when you said about you know, all the things you hear that you think you have to do. And I think people fall into this trap sometimes of, I have to market in this particular way because I've been told this is what's going to work, but it really feels heavy for me. And also, a lot of people in service-based businesses these days come to believe that they have to create online courses and group programs and memberships in order for their business to be successful. And actually, what you've got is a beautiful one-to-one business. It's pretty much just you. What sort of support do you have in your business?
Like a VA, just to do the technical stuff, really.
Okay, so you've got one VA who works what, part-time, few hours?
Yeah.
So you have this beautifully simple business, 4 days a week, and you get to keep most of that revenue rather than going out on paying for a lot of systems, paying for a lot of team support. So yeah.
Yeah. Ultimately, what happens with that revenue is I reinvest it into learning more tools and wisdom that I can then pass on to my clients. So it's this wonderful, virtuous cycle. And that's why I want to keep the new dream of the business, to have just a handful of clients that I work with deeply who have a lot to work through. I need to be able to dedicate really intimate personal time to them and make it tailored to where they are, and show them these different layers they maybe haven't thought about that are keeping them stuck. A group program would not work for me, but being in the membership tells you that you have options. I remember you saying, there's a lady that you knew, and she just did networking, and she had like this thriving business, and I was like, that's what I want. I want to keep it simple. I want it to be successful, but I want it to make a huge impact on people. That's the dream.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Such an inspiring story. If you were to think about one piece of advice or one particular thing that you've learned from having been in this membership that you could share with other people who were perhaps where you were 4.5 years ago, what would you want to share? Is there a tip or a piece of advice or even a message for your younger self?
I think the biggest thing I got was, you don't have to do this alone, and you're not meant to do it alone. You're not meant to be struggling and striving. There's people out there like yourself that can guide us who are trying to be of service, but also make a living and take care of our families. Sometimes that belief is not there, and we need someone, a group of people, to carry us while we're going through that doubt, because it is possible. But if you give up too early because you think there's something wrong with you or the way you're doing it, that's such a shame. The world needs you, so don't give up. You just need to get the right support. You don't have to do it on your own.
Oh, thank you. And actually, this ties into, I think, the final question I want to ask, which is, you've been in this membership for 4.5 years. Now, you've worked with other mentors, you've done other courses, you've had other means of learning and getting support in your business, but you're still in this membership, paying your monthly fee 4.5 years later, which amazes me. I didn't expect people would stay this long when I first set it up, and you're not unusual at all in staying for this long. Why? What is the reason that you're still a member 4.5 years later, even after you've achieved the business of what you said, the business of your dreams?
I think there's kind of two things that come to me. The first thing is like family. I know if I come here, I know I'm going to get the support. I know I can get advice, questions answered. And the other thing is the ability to dip in when I want and not be around at all if I don't have the time. Just having that there in the background is so reassuring. There's no pressure. I know I just turn up and I know what I'm going to get, and it's what I need.
Yeah, and I can totally see how that works, because you do take quite long periods of time off work, particularly in the summer. And if you were paying 500 a month for this support or 1,000 a month for this support, there'd be a pressure and an anxiety, wouldn't there, about feeling you needed to make the most of it. Whereas the support is there when you need it, but when you don't need it, it's not hanging over you. And that's exactly how I designed it. That's exactly how I want people to use it, because it doesn't make sense to always be in a membership watching trainings and coming on mentoring calls. Sometimes you're just in the world getting on with the things that you've learned, and then you hit a roadblock or you achieve something and you're ready for the next level, and it's like, now I need to go back in and get the next stage. So yeah, I really love that you use it in that way. So Kanan, I'm obviously a huge fan of what you do, and when you were in that tangled in between, do I specialize, do I not, I know how much I wanted you to specialize, because I know how much, and I try not to influence people, but because I am autistic myself, and it was understanding that I am autistic was absolutely life-changing for me. It was the thing that after 40 something years on the planet, I was finally able to accept myself for who I am. The work you do is hugely valuable. So if anyone's watching this and they're autistic, ADHD, other form of neurodiversity, and they're interested in finding out more about how you can help, how can they find out more about you?
Yeah, they can go straight to my website, which is aspiecoach.com. And yeah, they can get lots of free resources, or they can book in a call there.
Fantastic. And we'll put the link up to that website wherever I share this online. So thank you, Kane. I really appreciate you sharing your story. I think that when a business owner is in those early stages of figuring things out, they can see other business owners that are successful, but it can be so hard to believe that they can actually close the gap. I love that you've come and shared your story about how far you've come in those few years. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine.